Mafia 3 was released today. I had pre-ordered it with my brother, and so far, I like it. It's so I'm gonna be really serious right now. It's it has elements of like GTA and Assassin's Creed. Like they had a baby, and here it is, but set in the 60s. So when you start off, well, this right now, at the time period I am now, it's actually the 70s, where Martin Luther King just died, was assassinated. So you play a character who comes back from Vietnam. He was an orphan. He was taken in by the quote-unquote black mob. And after, then he goes to Vietnam and he comes back. And stuff does not happen the way that he wished it would have. But, it's just a story that I'm not really going to get into. But anyway, the setting of it is called New Bordeaux, but it is strongly based off of New Orleans, Louisiana. The accents, the talking, the French Quarter, the swamps, everything on it is in here. Obviously, there have been some people that have gotten, I guess, a beta version or an early release that have tried to fight gators. Don't do that.
Would you say that's a no-no, monkey balls?
Yeah, I feed them the bodies of my enemies. So the whole thing with it is that is that you're trying to bring down the Italian mob. Now, I will say this for anyone that's actually looking to play the game. If you're very sensitive towards racial slurs, don't play the game. Because they're everywhere on here. Because it's the fucking 60s. I don't know if you know this. Oh, wait, no, it's pretty much like it is now. Never mind. Except white people don't openly call African Americans the N-word. Yeah, but it is so far there's a few hitches on here that I found getting away from people. Like I was the mission that I'm sure everybody heard me cussing. I'm sorry, that was very aggravating. Because like GTA, you will have police on you at some point. There's not like a star level or anything, like it's not a wanted level. But if police are like looking for you on foot and you're in this like red zone, they will shoot you first, obviously. So you want to like try to hide because you're not going to outshoot them. There's too many. And you can't. And running like through them is also a bad idea. So I had to kill a few cops just to get through them. It's pretty awful. But there's some hitches in it, like the driving mechanic. This is one where you really, like, I know how everybody plays GTA. You get in a car and fuck shit up. You don't care about speed limits, stoplights, any of that. This game, you actually have to do that. The cops will stop you and chase you down. Even if you do something minor like a fender bender, cops will stop you. I think I was talking to Michelle this morning, and I was telling her about my very first achievement. and I'm going to say this to everybody else because I want them all to earn this achievement. It's called Bon Appetit. Anybody want to guess what that is?
Feeding someone to a gator?
Yes, it is. It's feeding a body to a gator. I did that a lot. To the point I was just like, this is awful. These gators are gonna get fat.
You'll have to name them all ISIS if you do that.
Ah.
I mean, but like the whole thing is really nice. I mean, you see really nice cars in the game, like cars that people want now. I mean, obviously back then it's cars that they see everywhere. But it's just one of those things that it's like, huh, this is actually really cool. So the only thing I have an issue with is the opening sequence of this is broken up. So you'll start off doing a starting off going to do a bank robbery of a Federal Reserve. And then it stops partway through it to start off to begin the story like a week before that happened. And then you're doing other stuff. And then you kind of forget that you were doing that Federal Reserve mission. And then you come back to the Federal Reserve, and then you have another mission, and then it breaks away again, and then it comes back to that. And then you keep doing whatever. That's the only issue that I've had so far. And that's just the opening sequence. So I don't know if there's going to be more. I doubt there's going to be more of that because now I'm in like this current time and I'm actively trying to hunt down, the Mafia and trying to get them out of, my area. But so far, right now, I will give the game a solid 7 out of 10 because I haven't played it fully. There are some hitches in it, but the game as a whole, it looks great. It sounds great. The history of it's authentic. The style of it's really nice. So far, the story behind it is really good and it's really fitting. So hopefully once I finish the game, I can give people a better review of it. And I'll be able to properly, rate it. But right now, I'm sticking at a solid 7 out of 10. I do recommend it for all the people. Again, if you're very sensitive about racial slurs, then don't buy the game. Because you'll hear them a lot.
Don't be a pussy. I have some questions for you. I love the original Mafia. Mafia 2 was really good too, but Mafia 1, it had the levity and a little bit of humor to coincide with the darkness of the game and the very serious story of it. So, like a good Marvel movie, it can be very serious but have some levity to it. But the ending was very down and very serious, and you're like, oh my god, kind of almost like a twist. And it really drew you in, the ending of the game and the story throughout it. Mafia 2 was pretty good, the story was pretty good, but I think Mafia 1 was better with that story arc. Please tell me, does this one follow the same, it's very serious, has a really good story, but it still has a little bit of levity in it, but at the end of the day, it draws you in story-wise?
Well, so far it's been really serious. There has been some kind of light-hearted moments, but it's been very serious because this guy is a soldier coming back from Vietnam. Now, back then, I don't remember what they called PTSD back then because it wasn't the same name.
Shell shock.
No, that was World War I.
I thought they were still using it.
They changed it. No, they changed it between World War I and World War II. They changed it, and then it was Vietnam.
Soldier
it was
syndrome?
No, it was some long ass term. It was like right before they changed it to PTSD. But anyway, he doesn't quite have that, but he's changed from what everybody remembers him as. Like, he's still like the same guy. He's just kind of buffer. He's, a bigger guy. And everybody's like, well, it's really good to have you back, blah, blah, blah. He was like back with his quote unquote family, and they all get killed. And the place, he survives being shot in the head. But things, so far it's been pretty serious. I haven't run in, again, I'm just started this game today, so I can't really say too much if there's a whole lot of levity in it, but it's very serious. And I will say this, the way that the beginnings talk, because you'll see the preacher that you see throughout the game, and he's old, so he's talking like he's talking today, like 2016, like he's talking to like interviewers, like they're making a documentary about what happened. So you'll kind of get a sense about what's going to happen towards the end of the game. It's fine. So I'm not going to give anything away for anybody that wants to play it, but it's just one of those, and you'll also come up with you also see kind of like tidbits of like this court date of like this guy in court who's talking about what about the murder of this crime family, and it's whatever. I think it's really cool that they did that as part of the cutscenes. If I'm letting people know this now, because at the very beginning of it, it was slightly confusing. So when you see the opening cutscenes and stuff, you'll hear one voice that's talking about New Bordeaux as it was in the 70s, but you'll also be hearing this pastor talk about what happened back then, as if he's like talking about it through a documentary.
See, I dig that. That sounds very interesting. Actually, it's super interesting.
I have a quick question though. Are you seeing an issue with frame rates or anything like that? I mean, like, it plays smooth for you, right? It's not sluggish.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's only been one time I've had an issue with frame rate, and that has been, I think, because when I was cussing a little earlier, I was running through Mardi Gras.
Okay.
And there's like a lot of people there, and there were a lot of cops that are trying to shoot me at the same time. So I think a little bit of that kind of caught a glitch or like a frame issue, but it didn't last long. It was like a split-second thing. And it wasn't even something that was very noticeable. If you're playing a game and you're not like a hardcore gamer, you're not going to notice it.
Okay, because Steam actually lets you have access to it yesterday, and it was getting a lot of bad press for it's being locked at 30 frames per second, and a lot of people are saying it's sluggish, but they've also let you know that they're putting out a patch for it right now as they speak. It will be out before the end of the weekend. Be patient, work with them. They're trying to get it out there and get it so you can play it at whatever settings you want. And, honestly, I talk about the PC and stuff like that all the time, but I think for 30 fucking frames per second is pretty good, because movies are shot at 26 frames per second, and you really can't see anything past 60. I was about to
bring that up. Supposedly, from what doctors and researchers said, you cannot tell past 30 frames what the speed is. So,
well, I think what it is that it's just a bunch of people, and I'm sorry for interrupting, but
You're fine.
I know a guy that's exactly like this because I work with him. Kyle fucking Parliament is he's one of those PC master racers.
Glad I'm not.
And I'm sorry,
No, somebody coughed and was talking shit with her cough. Go ahead, Monkey Balls.
But this, I'm sorry. If you're gonna bitch about 30 frames per second, go somewhere else. Ooh, big fucking whoop. I just like, what exactly are you hoping for? Because you're not gonna see much more with anything else. One of the other things is that obviously there's a difficulty setting. I'm sure everybody knows that. You can adjust your aim lock. So aim lock, aim assist. You can have it as like really strict. So it's like you aim and it will find a target. It'll be medium or completely off. I have to find a way to fix this site because right now it's inverted.
I love it.
Shut up.
Get good.
Only some can master that. Only some can master
I can't. I can't do that. It's something that my brain has not wired to do. I have tried doing inverted sights, and it's not something that I'm good with. Like, I understand, like, why it works, because, like, if you push, like, if you have a stick on the back of a head, and you push that stick up, the head's gonna point down. Like, I get that, but I can't do that.
I'm right there with you, Monkey Paws.
It's like, fuck that. What is the beeping? Why, people?
It's people fucking.
I have a question for you, Monkey Paws. How are the gameplay mechanics themselves? Are they very smooth and intuitive and roll right along with each other, or is there any hiccups?
With what?
With the gameplay mechanics, like going from shooting to driving, from walking to running, is there any slow motion or where it doesn't seem to flow, or is it all very intuitive?
It flows really well. It's the controls are a little, because I'm used to like having, because the controls are a little different for me, so I'm still trying to learn, okay, this button's crouch, this puts away my weapons, this will help me see where everything is. So that's different. But other than that, pretty much everything's the same. Like, it flows really nice. There is a way to conceal your weapons so that they're not seen. But you still have them on you. You just can't see them. So you're not running around with a giant shotgun strapped to your back.
Right.
It's probably going to be like in your lot. Like, we're not talking Saints Row here. Come on now.
San Andreas did it first, but that ain't my business. Go ahead, please.
Well, Saints Row did it better.
Oh, damn.
I would agree with that. Saints Row is the better. I don't.
Sorry, I don't get me wrong. I love Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I love it, but I don't. But the franchise of Saints Row, I love more because they took the very first serious game and it was like, here's a GTA game, and then they were like, fuck it all after that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I love San Andreas and I love Grand Theft Auto, but Saints Row did the crazy quirky better and ran with it and made it its own. So I agree with you there. From what you're telling me, man, I'm really digging this. I'm gonna have to pick it up. It seems like they're going with that serious story with a little bit of levity, but where it plays itself to drawing you in. This is something I'm definitely gonna have to get. And like I said, and so did Vaki Knockers over there. Really, if you're bitching about frame rates, you're using a machine to see it because the human eye, literally scientifically proven, cannot pick it up after 30 frames. And, you know, they're making it for 3 separate systems, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So, okay, the frames might be a little bit slower on PC. You're not going to actually notice it, and they're already going to fix it for you guys anyway, so don't bitch. This sounds like a game that I got to pick up.
Yeah, it's definitely one for you. It's definitely one that'll be great to pick up. Just don't because the controls aren't the controls like you think they would be. Like, crouch isn't what you think it would. Well, crouch isn't. No, crouch is actually as Crouch is not B.
That's what I normally think crouch is too, actually. I was actually about to say that.
I mean,
Crouch is actually pushing down the right stick.
Yeah, it'll take some time.
Yeah.
I'm used
pushing
to
down
left
the
stick
right
or B.
stick. Yeah, it's pushing down the right stick.
Same thing in Minecraft.
So,
sorry.
It is. Yeah, that's true. It is the same thing in Minecraft. Now you can. There's cover is A, but obviously, right now I'm about to sneak up on some guy and interrogate the piss out of him with a combat knife. So that's cool.
Now, is getting a vehicle still Y?
No, that is X, holding X.
The fuck?
To actually do something, you have to hold down the action. Like, not to shoot or anything else. That's still just a trigger push. But to, like, open a door or to get into a car, you have to hold it. It's like a second, but it is a holding. It's a holding motion. Because that took me a second to realize, because it's like, you have to get through this door. Okay, push X. Why am I not going through this door? And it's like, hold X. It's like, fuck you up the ass too. Thanks.
Now, is the tutorial, like, there? Of course, there's a tutorial. Is it skippable, or is it the same kind of, I mean, did you feel the tutorial was actually necessary in this one due to the fact of the change of the controls from what we're typically used to?
I feel that the tutorial. I feel tutorials are always useful. You can just kind of skip through the text. I would not advise it for your first time playing, because there's a lot of stuff going on within that first section of gameplay that I don't advise skipping the tutorial. And the tutorial is not even like, okay, you walk at, like, there's gonna be a thing in the corner that says, okay, walk up to that person, push A. No, the tutorial is actually boxes that you have to read that'll pop up that you can completely skip. Before everybody freaks out, the driving mechanics are the same as any other game. Just saying.
Okay, I was about to say skinny one on the right, fat one on the left.
That would be funny.
I have a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot it. Give me just one second. Okay, now I remember it. Now, of course, people have already played Saints Row 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5, but let's say if you could only pick 3 large sandbox games, Mafia 3, Saints Row 4, or Grand Theft Auto 5, which one would you pick out of the 3?
Saints Row. Not because, I mean, it's because Saints Row, for me, has that feeling of a parody game. Yeah. Because a lot of people bitched about the last one, the Saints Row 4. A lot of people bitched about that one because it was so left field. And fuck it, it's been out for a while because of the aliens. So, and it's like, well, why? It's like, they never said anything about sticking with a GTA feel kind of game. And I wouldn't want him to. I was like, I'm pretty sure there was enough of that going around to, God, Jesus, probably stock up on baby coffins, but fuck's sake. Well, let's be real here, because in GTA, the only thing you were doing was running over people. Or trying to get into the airport with a tank. I also did that. One time. And then died. Like, shortly after. Now, I would pick... Now, obviously, for, like, a newer thing, I won't pick GTA 5 just because I don't like that game specifically. The story behind it was there. As, like, it's cool that you can switch characters, but I'm not into it. So no. Which one was it? It was, I think it was Saints Row 1 and 2 felt very much like a flow of a kind of GTA game. Except Saints Row 2 had a lot more humor. Had a lot more serious moments in it. But it was still good. Saints Row 3 follows the fucking let's run around with a giant purple dildo. Fuck it. Fuck everybody. You can run around naked. Doesn't matter. And then Saints Row 4 was just like, hey, let's go in the completely other direction. That's why I like Saints Row, because it kept things different.